Okay guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, fasten your seatbelts. Here we go. Alright guys, I'm back. It's Saturday, September 19th, and it is 9:49 p.m. Eastern Time. Hope everyone is doing well tonight. Let's get into the news. Alright guys, we've got a lot of news today. Hopefully we'll get through most of it. Probably not all of it, but we're going to try. And I don't have anyone to thank for donations tonight, but as always, I do thank those that donate on a monthly basis and buy the odd coffee. I appreciate it very, very much. It's what keeps this channel going and helps me to do what I do. So anyway, let's jump into the news for tonight. And we've got this. And remember yesterday, I said when I mentioned that Ruth Bader Ginsburg had died, that I knew what the narrative was going to be. I knew that the Democrats would all of a sudden be, laying on the guilt trip about trying to appoint another justice right away. But Donald Trump has made it very clear, abundantly clear today, that he is going to appoint another justice as soon as possible. So probably next week. So anyway, but here, this is from The Hill. Breaking, Obama calls on Senate not to fill Ginsburg's vacancy. I don't know why I stumbled over that word, but over her name, but Obama calls on Senate not to fill Ginsburg's vacancy until after election. Yeah, well, too bad, so sad. If the Democrats were in party, they would be doing the exact same thing, even though there's an election coming up. Whenever there is a vacancy, it is up to that president to fill it. Well, so sorry, there's an election coming up, but it happened during his presidency. It's his call, and he is going to fill it, and I would too. And the Democrats would. They wouldn't wait until after an election. Are you kidding me? But they're all whining and crying about this now. And saying, oh, it was her last wish. Well, unfortunately, last wishes are not legally binding, especially in this case. So now let's look at this. Hang on, I forgot to make it into a link here. It used to be when I copied something to my Word document, it would just automatically copy as a link, and it just stopped doing that. I've tried absolutely everything and cannot get it to work again. So I don't know what that's about, but that's my pain, not yours. Anyway, let's take a look at this. It says, Spirit Airlines flight attendant tells a Trump supporter that the U.S. flag face mask isn't legal to wear and to expect local police to be waiting for him. What a liberal nut job. Well, yeah, I have a few other things to call that, but the man is wearing a face mask, and it's a legal face mask. It's covering his nose, mouth, and chin, and just happens to be an American flag. Well, this is America. Why would it be wrong to wear an American flag? That's ridiculous. But not according to this guy. Now, he's obviously got issues, but let's listen to this.
I need you to wear the mask I gave you.
I'm wearing a mask.
No.
Yeah.
What do you have underneath it?
What?
What do you have underneath this?
I'm wearing a mask. Illegal by who? Legal by who? Legal by who? What's wrong with my mask? I've literally
to the CDC.
Really?
Really.
Show me those rules. Show me those rules.
That's why I
Show me those rules.
I don't have to show you the rules.
Well, I don't have to wear the mask that you gave me. I'm wearing the mask that I have.
Well then,
I've been on 20 flights. Okay.
Well,
I've literally been on 20 flights with this same exact mask.
I don't.
All right. Well, I'm done talking.
Well, so am I.
Okay.
We'll have the authorities waiting for you when we land.
Okay. Sounds. Yeah.
I need you to wear the mask I gave you.
I'm wearing a mask.
No.
So this is what people are going through in the United States of America, believe it or not. This isn't some communist country. No, this is the US of A. And you've got a flight attendant bothering this guy because he's wearing a American flag mask instead of the Spirit masks that they gave out. Well, as long as the mask is legal and covering your nose, mouth, and chin, then what is the deal? But this guy claims that he's going to have the police waiting for him when he gets off. Good luck with that. Yeah. All right, so let's move on now. And this from Don the Plebe. And I like this because we know this is exactly what's going to happen. I was raped by whoever Trump nominates to replace Justice Ginsburg. It was the same thing with Justice Kavanaugh. We know that he didn't sexually assault anyone. We know that all of that was just garbage. And they tried to ruin a good man's name for no good reason, except, well, their own pathology. Anyway, we know that this is coming. I was raped by whoever Trump nominates to replace Justice Ginsburg. Well, if he nominates a woman, I don't know what they'll find against her. Probably something. But yeah, we know that's coming. They won't be happy with whoever Trump picks to replace Justice Ginsburg. And we know that. So we shouldn't be surprised. Sorry, I'm having trouble with these links here. Okay, let's look at this. This by the New York Post. Mitch McConnell says Senate will take up nominee to replace Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Now, this is from yesterday. And it says the Republican-controlled U.S. Senate will vote on a potential successor to the late Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg if President Trump nominates someone. Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said Friday night President Trump's nominee will receive a vote on the floor of the United States Senate. McConnell said in a statement responding to Ginsburg's death at 87. McConnell issued his statement about an hour and a half after the Supreme Court announced the liberal justice death from complications of metastatic pancreatic cancer. It metastasized. That's what I'm trying to say. When conservative Justice Antonin Scalia died in February 2016, also an election year, McConnell refused to act on President Barack Obama's nomination of Judge Merrick Garland to fill the opening. The seat remained vacant until after Trump's surprising presidential victory. Trump ended up nominating Neil Gorsuch, who was confirmed to the court. The 2020 election is 46 days away. McConnell had earlier said he would move to confirm a Trump nominee if there were a vacancy this year. In his Friday night statement, McConnell contrasted the situation presented by Ginsburg's death to what was to that which followed Scalia's, and we know that was a murder because we know that through information that COUP provided. Since the 1980s, no Senate has confirmed an opposite party president's Supreme Court nominee in a presidential election year. McConnell added, by contrast, Americans reelected our majority in 2016 and expanded it in 2018 because we pledged to work with President Trump and support his agenda, particularly his outstanding appointments to the federal judiciary. Once again, we will keep our promise. So that's good news. It's very, very good news as far as I'm concerned, because I was a little bit worried about that, what was going to happen there. And I knew that the Democrats would, of course, step in and all of a sudden start, oh, it was her last will and testament that, a new president be installed before a new justice is named. Well, I'm sorry, but there's no law that says that her last will and testament has to be honored, especially when it comes to this. I mean, whoever is the president when the vacancy occurs is the one that gets to nominate. So there you go. So that is good news. And let's come down here. And this is Melania Trump. She is always so graceful, has so much class and grace, really. Anyway, Melania Trump has this to say. Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg's passing is an immense loss. Her tenacity and strength were matched by her intellect and compassion, and her spirit will live on in all she has inspired. My prayers are with her family and all who loved her. And Tom Fitton says, coup karma. If the left can impeach and try to remove a president during an election year, a Supreme Court justice can certainly be appointed during an election year. All right, Tom Fitton, I could not agree more. He's a hardworking man. And Donald J. Trump, at GOP, we were put in this position of power and importance to make decisions for the people who so proudly elected us, the most important of which has long been considered to be the selection of United States Supreme Court justices. We have this obligation without delay. I like to hear that. And Carrie Lucas says, I'll add on Ruth Bader Ginsburg. If reports of her last wish are true, then she has a fundamental misunderstanding of her role. She didn't own that seat, merely had the privilege of filling it for many years and had no business telling the political branches how it should be filled. And that right there is the truth. She doesn't have that. She doesn't own that seat. She has no say whatsoever how it is filled. She was elected to that seat. She filled it for a time. She doesn't own it. And it is up to the president to nominate another Supreme Court justice. And I have no doubt he will do exactly that. And this by Kirstie Alley. The latest trend seems to be if you are a black Democrat, you're in and your voice is of value. If you're a black conservative, your voice is ignorant and somehow a threat and traitorous. This isn't equality, it's bigotry. Equality is for all. Freedom of speech is for all. And that's true. And you know, the black voices that are far left leaning are listened to and respected, whereas if you are a black conservative, well, you know how they treat you. And they'll call you things like Uncle Tom and just very, very, unkind things. I mean, I could say more than that, but they're unkind at the very least. All right, and this, commie lives don't matter. I just returned from Walmart Pharmacy. If anyone wants to know who benefited from Trump's prescription bill, you can quote me. I picked up my insulin, 3-month supply, and the cost has dropped from $173.86 down to $42.88. Big savings. And my test strips, now she's saying her test strips dropped as well in price. And, you know, there's a lot of Americans that are diabetic. And the insulin is just out of reach for a lot of people. And if you don't take care of your diabetes, well, it can cause all sorts of complications and other serious health issues. So this is a big deal because for a lot of people, paying $173 a month for insulin is not doable. It's just not doable. So I think this is a wonderful thing. And I don't know why everyone isn't shouting this from the rooftops, because people are saying that, you know, they've gone to get a prescription and all of a sudden they're paying less out of pocket. And a lot of people, like myself, I pay for anything that I need out of my pocket. So, yeah, we do have free healthcare up here, but we don't have free medical, like in terms of pharmacy. But the drugs are much, much, much cheaper up here. That is for sure. So anyway, let's move along now and let's get to this. Ted Cruz. All right. Now, I did have some people saying that they had some echo and stuff in my microphone. So I've put it kind of down and off the desk. So I'm hoping that that's going to help. Let me know if you're still hearing a lot of interference and whatever. Let me know, because I do want to work on that. I don't want you, I want it to be a pleasant experience for you. I don't want you having to, you know, strain to hear something or what have you. So, all right, let's look at this. Now, where did it go? Here it is. This is Senator Ted Cruz. We are one vote away from losing our fundamental constitutional liberties. I believe Donald Trump should nominate a successor next week, and the Senate should take up and confirm that successor before Election Day. Well, I think that's exactly what's going to happen, because that is exactly what Trump has said will happen, and I happen to believe him. So let's listen to this.
On what is the right course moving forward?
Well, I think the court we are one vote away from losing our fundamental constitutional liberties. And I believe that the president should next week nominate a successor to the court. And I think it is critical that the Senate takes up and confirms that successor before Election Day. There's going to be enormous pressure from the media. There's going to be enormous pressure from Democrats to delay filling this vacancy. But this election, this nomination is why Donald Trump was elected. This confirmation is why the voters voted for a Republican majority in the Senate. And I'll tell you one reason in particular, Sean, why I think it is tremendously important that not only does the nomination happen next week, but that the confirmation happen before Election Day. Because Democrats and Joe Biden have made clear they intend to challenge this election. They intend to fight the legitimacy of the election. As you know, Hillary Clinton has told Joe Biden, under no circumstances should you concede. You should challenge this election. And we cannot have Election Day come and go with a 4-4 court. A 4-4 court that is equally divided cannot decide anything. That's right. And I think we risk a constitutional crisis if we do not have a 9-justice Supreme Court, particularly when there is such a risk of a contested litigation and a contested election. 20 years ago, I was part of the legal team that litigated Bush versus Gore and went to the Supreme Court. 37 days, the country did not know who the president was going to be. And if we had a 4-4 court, it could have dragged on for weeks and months. And so I think we have a responsibility to do our job. The president should nominate a principled constitutionalist with a proven record. And the Senate, it's going to take a lot of work to get it done before Election Day, but I think we should do our job and protect the country from the constitutional crisis that could result otherwise.
I could not agree more, and very well stated. And I really do believe that this is critical that this get done before the election, because if it doesn't get done before the election, we're going to be in trouble. We're going to be in trouble with the court. Definitely we are. There's no question about that. So this is good news that Trump is so resolute in saying, yes, this is going to be done. It's going to be, there's going to be a nomination and it's going to go to the court quickly. All right. Now let's come down. Now this is a feel-good story, but I'm going to just give it to you now because I can. Now, I love this. And this person says, this is what the internet is for. I couldn't agree more. Says, this man is about to be a hero. I'm going to make it bigger for my tiny phone people. And I think you'll like this. I really do. If you haven't seen it already, you're going to like it. Her card has been declined. She's asking her to take the diapers off. She can't afford it.
Are you sure you don't have to do that? I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
And he just steps forward. He sees that this young woman is struggling. She can't afford, her card's been declined. It's $24.50. She can't afford the diapers. And the guy steps in and he just says, put it on mine, and pays for it. Now, I know you may be saying, well, that's not a lot of money. Well, you know what? We don't know what his situation is, but we know that to her, he changed her day, because not only was somebody kind to her, but she was able to get what she needed. She obviously needed those diapers, obviously. So you don't go to the store to buy diapers if you don't need them. So I just think that that's wonderful. And I think that it's a good thing to do. And I would encourage all of you, if you are somewhere and you see somebody struggling and maybe they need an extra dollar or two or whatever, step up. You know, you probably won't even notice it. Just do without a coffee here or there or whatever. And, you know, a lot of times, like if I'm in a drive-through and I've got police behind me or an ambulance or first responders or whatever, you know, I'll just say, just let me pay for whatever they got behind me. And you know what? It makes me feel like I can't even describe to you the feeling. It just feels so good. And then I love looking in my mirror to see when the person tells them that somebody got their stuff, and they're always like, what? And I love that. And it's so easy to do something kind like that for someone. I remember a pastor that I had in the States, he was buying a trampoline for his kids. And this woman was saying, oh, my kids have always wanted a trampoline, boy. And you could tell that she was not well off at all and that she was struggling. And all of a sudden he just felt like, okay, you know what? I'm going to buy your kids a trampoline. And she's like, what? And he said, yeah, I really feel like I'm supposed to buy your kids a trampoline. And he did. And this woman was crying. She was going, what? Why would you do that? And he goes, well, I don't know, but God's blessed me and I'm going to pass it along. And if your kids have always wanted a trampoline, well, I'm going to make sure they get one. And so she went home with a trampoline that day. Now, see, not everybody can do that. I understand that. But everybody can give up $1.50, buy somebody a donut or something. You know, come on. It makes you feel like $1 million. And you know what? A lot of times, I know when people have done that to me, I've passed it along. So, yeah. Anyway, enough said about that. All right, and let's come down to here. And Joe Biden struggles to read prepared remarks after the passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. The voters should pick the president, and the president should pick the justice for the Senate to consider. Yeah, well, let's give a listen to this. I'll make it bigger, and let's listen.
As you all learned, as I did in this flight, some very sad news.
He seems sedated always to me.
We learned the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who was not only a giant in the legal profession, but a beloved figure. And my heart goes out to all those who cared for her and care about her.
It's very hard to even hear him.
She practiced the highest American ideals as justice, equality, and justice under the law. And Ruth Bader Ginsburg stood for all of us. As I said, she was a beloved figure. As a young attorney, you all know the story. She persisted, overcoming a lot of obstacles for a woman practicing law in those days, as well as she continued until she moved herself in a position where she could end up changing the law of the land. The effort to...
Now, it's not that anything he's saying is wrong, but it's his demeanor. He looks like he's about to fall asleep. He seems sedated. He's mumbling. His words are not clear. And I just wonder if they do have him sedated and if they're giving him drugs just to get him through what he has to get through as the little puppet. Because he's just, we realize he's really not, that's not who you're electing. If you're voting for Joe Biden, and I doubt anybody listening to this is voting for Joe Biden, otherwise you're really listening to the wrong YouTube channel. But yeah, if you're voting for Biden, you've got to realize you're not voting for him. You're voting for whoever's going to take his place. But he just seems sedated, mumbling, hard to understand, hard to get, and I'm not sure if it gets any worse, but I don't want to listen to 3 minutes and 30 seconds of him. But let's skip forward here.
Civil rights of everyone. Her opinions and her dissent are going to continue to shape the basis for a law for a generation. And, tonight in the coming days, we should focus on the loss of the justice and her enduring legacy. But there is no...
And I can't do anything about the, for some reason, a lot of the videos on YouTube are so, the volume, I've got the volume up 100% and it's still hard to hear. And I'm telling you, I mean, compared to Trump, who is just, he just surges with electricity and he's got such charisma and, you know, energy. I mean, just, and to look at Joe, he makes me very tired. He seems like he's slurring his words like he's drunk. I know he's not, but he's slurring his words. He's so slow, not animated at all. And I just don't know why anyone would look at him and say, yeah, he'd make a good president. I don't know why anybody would do that, but let's skip ahead here. I'm having a hard time hearing him.
It's the position the United States Senate must take today and consideration. And
I'm gonna skip this because I don't think you're all able to hear this. I would doubt it because I'm hardly able to hear it. So anyway, but you can tell by his demeanor, he's just kind of dopey and do. You know, he just, no enthusiasm, no charisma. Anyway, that is par for the course. And let's look at here. Yeah, I think you might find this interesting. Or you might not, but chances are you will. All right, DC Patriot. And here's the list of celebrities paying bail for violent rioters and looters. Well, oh, actually, you know what? Somebody slipped this to me. Well, it says it's from Saturday, September 19th, but then you come down here and it says June 3rd. So, I don't know. I'm thinking, yeah, this is an old article, so sorry. I apologize profusely. Forgive me. Have mercy on me. All right. And let's look at this. Now this, I know, is not old. All right. Well, breaking report, Hunter Biden worked with Chinese military supplier to buy U.S. auto parts company. Well. And let's come down here. A bombshell report from Seamus Bruner and John Solomon is revealing the true extent of the global connections used by Hunter Biden to advance his businesses, showing the former vice president's son worked with a Chinese military supplier to acquire a Michigan-based auto parts manufacturer, an investment fund named Bohai Harvest, RST, BHR, partly owned and directed by Biden's son Hunter, and Secretary of State John Kerry's stepson, Chris Hines, has just a few years earlier played a vital role in facilitating the sale of the Michigan-based auto parts maker Hennings Automotive to one of China's main military aircraft makers, Aviation Industry Corporation of China, or AVIC, reports justthenews.com. That 2015 transaction, approved by the Obama administration and its Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, came just 15 months after the United States publicly added one of AVIC's subsidiaries to a Commerce Department blacklist known as the Entity List, and just months before the Obama administration resumed patrols in the South China Seas because of increased Beijing military aggression in the region where AVIC-built military jets partake in China's activities, adds the website. Air Biden, Secret Service reportedly provided security for Hunter Biden on 400 plus trips. Now, this is old, I do believe. This was posted in July, this part of it, but it says an explosive report from justthenews.com is shedding new light on Hunter Biden's dealings during the 8 years of the Obama administration, showing the vice president's son was provided a Secret Service security detail on hundreds of flights. Hundreds. Hunter Biden has already made headlines with his pursuit of global business, raising questions about conflicts of interest by landing lucrative deals in Ukraine and China while his father Joe was vice president, reports justthenews.com. And now it's his proclivity for globetrotting travel that is garnering attention. The son of the former vice president and 2020 Democratic presidential nominee in waiting used Secret Service protection on at least 411 international and domestic trips during the Obama years, according to records released this month under the Freedom of Information Act to the conservative watchdog Judicial Watch, adds the website. Given the Burisma Ukraine China influence peddling scandals, Hunter Biden's extensive international travel during the Obama-Biden presidency, including at least 5 trips to China, will raise additional questions, Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton said after releasing the records. So, yeah, and of course, there is a treasure trove of stuff about Hunter Biden, which will never get answered because we know the mainstream media doesn't care to ask about it. Now, if it was, one of Trump's sons, well, that would be totally different now, wouldn't it? But, yeah, the mainstream media just isn't interested in anything negative about any Democrat, and you won't see it. You just won't see it unless it's something that really can't be avoided. They tend to just write little fluff pieces about the Democrats, and then they go for the jugular when it's a Republican. I think we've all seen that. Now, let's come down here, and now this by Kat Namus. Boom. Enjoy the probably effing show. Assange proves the DNC had the motive to kill Seth Rich. DNC paid Google's CrowdStrike $100,000 to investigate the hacked emails that WikiLeaks published one day after Seth's murder. Google then blamed Russia to frame POTUS of collusion and impeach him. And that's exactly what happened. And this was in response to NBC News, who said Julian Assange was offered a presidential pardon if he helped to resolve the ongoing speculation about Russian involvement, of which there wasn't any, in the hacking of Democratic National Committee emails leaked during the 2016 U.S. election campaign, a London court was told Friday. Well, yeah, and there was no hacking either. It was just transferred onto a disk and given to Assange. There was no hacking of the DNC, but of course they'll stick with that story until the last dog is hung, because I don't know. I don't even think they're capable of telling the truth, to tell the truth. And let's look at this, which is a continuation of the above. So, and this is what we just read. Then down here we have, I cannot put into words how massive this revelation is toward the plan. It's all coming to fruition of the stuff we've been exposing for years. It proves there is a legit deep state cabal who has been operating above the law. Wow, big time. Hashtag justice for Seth Rich. And this says, at no time did I offer Julian Assange anything from the president because I had not spoken with the president about this issue at all, Hrobacker said in February statement. However, when speaking with Julian Assange, I told him that if he could provide me information and evidence about who actually gave him the DNC emails, I would then call on President Trump to pardon him. He said that on his return to Washington, he wasn't successful in getting this message through to the president, but that I still call on him to pardon Julian Assange, who is the true whistleblower of our time. And I happen to agree with that. And come down here a bit, and it says, well, let's come down to this one. It says the mainstream media is trying to get ahead of the story that Julian Assange will be pardoned for testimony about how he received the DNC emails, which he already said had nothing to do with Russia. The media knows they're effed. Rats are scurrying. Boy, they sure are. I don't know, I feel like we've kind of turned the corner here somehow. I mean, the whole siege on the White House has been canceled, which I find hysterical. It's hysterical. And instead, Well, they're saying it was canceled because of the rain. We know that's not true. It was canceled because AG Barr said that, you know what, if there's any violent rioting here, you're going to be charged with sedition, which carries a 22-year prison term. So that kind of put paid to that, and they canceled it. Now they're having 50 days of improv jazz. These people are not real. Anyway, so here the mainstream media is trying to get ahead of the story. Julian Assange will be pardoned for testimony about how he received the DNC emails, which of course we know has nothing to do with Russia. Robacher has also denied making such an offer. At no time did I offer Julian Assange anything from the president because I had not spoken with the president about this issue at all, Robacher said in a February statement. However, when speaking with Julian Assange, I told him that he could provide me information and evidence about who actually gave him. Okay, we just read this, so I don't know why it's included here twice. But also this, the DNC emails were uploaded at speeds that aren't possible off-site. Whoever took them needed to be on site. And remember, we discussed this way back when it was, with Q, we discussed this because they were saying that somebody had hacked into these emails, but the speed needed to get those emails, I mean, they would definitely have been found out. No, there was no hacking in from the outside. This was an inside job. Somebody went straight to the computers with a flash drive, downloaded these emails. And that's how they got to Julian Assange. There was no hacking of the DNC, no Russian hacking whatsoever. And that has been proven time and time again. But still, the Democrats go with that same tired old narrative, don't they? They just never seem to shut up about it. And of course, when everything else has failed lately, they're going back to the Russia. And Russia's interfering in our election. Oh, please. Anyway, and Kat Namus says, this also ties back to the Wiener laptop and the Clinton Foundation, which is said to have been involved in many black ops, such as selling out CIA agents' locations in China, leading to their murder, and selling Haitian babies to sex rings after the earthquake. Of course, we all know that happened. It says in here, we've seen this before, Hillary Clinton and Foundation crime against children, and that is what they found on the Wiener laptop. 2018 revenue for Clinton Foundation is finally out. 2009, they brought in $249 million. 2010 to 13, they brought in $392.2 million. 2014 to 2016, $344.4 million. Then in 2017, well, look, they only brought in $16 million compared to $344 million in 2016. Yeah, $16.1 million, and 2018, $16.8 million. Yep, nothing to see or questions here, folks. Move along. Excuse me. And all New York Police Department suicides after the Wiener laptop that reportedly made career police cry was found. He was married to Hillary's top aide, Huma. It's rumored to have the Epstein and Clinton Foundation's blackmail. Is this the material CrowdStrike was paid to cover up? Well, they were paid to cover up something, weren't they? And this says, I've been following this pretty close since the laptop was seized. I've literally lost count. I think this is around the 20th unexpected death of law enforcement in New York Police Department since the Wiener laptop was taken, 11th in the past year. Yeah. And I'm not sure what this is showing. Well, there's Mark Zuckerberg, President Obama, Steve Jobs, Steve Wesley of the Wesley Group, Eric Schmidt of Google, there's Art Levinson of Gentech, John Chambers of Cisco, Jean Doerr, Kleiner, Perkins, Caulfield and Byers, Larry Ellison of Oracle, Reed Hastings of Netflix, John Hennessy of Stanford University, Carol Bartz of Yahoo, and Dick Costello of Twitter. Well, I think he had all these tech giants in his pocket, don't you think? And I think they're still in the pocket of the deep state. It's quite evident to anyone who's been paying attention. So, yeah. And let's come down here. And massive fine. CrowdStrike is not only owned by Google, it is equally owned by Warburg Pincus. Yes, the famous Illuminati family. Paul Warburg came up with the Federal Reserve, and his brother represented Germany in the Treaty of Versailles, over the target. So Google and others invested $256 million into CrowdStrike so Democrats can use FBI wiretap data to regain Congress. Yeah. CrowdStrike isn't owned by Google solely. They are the biggest investor, however, $100 million in July of 2015. Well, how do you like that? And deep diving, the fact CrowdStrike is owned by Google and the Warburg family has led to major information, key family notes, architect of Federal Reserve, intermarried with the Rothschilds, Loebs, Schiffs, Astors, and even Al Gore, the president of the Zionist organization and on board of IG Farben. So, yeah, very, very interesting. In more recent times, Schiff's great-great-grandson, Drew, previously was married to Al Gore's daughter, Karina. Having ties to American and Germany, like many other prominent Jewish financial families, the Warburgs abroad maintain close ties to their Jewish and whatever. So there's a lot of information in this thread, a lot, and good information. And it says the next few posts are out of order in the thread, but equally important to know as it feeds into the big picture. I wanted these facts known as this goes viral before I finish it up. Here is Biden selling nuclear materials to the Chinese through proxy groups and his son. This is big stuff. Says, boom, take a look at this. Biden is directly involved in helping the Chinese Communist Party gain a military superiority over the USA by funneling nuclear tech to the Chinese Communist Party for big money. I tweeted this July 29th, and Twitter was able to keep it under 100 return tweets. Big time. We are the news now, and we are. We are the news now. We can't expect the mainstream media to carry the message any longer. They are only carrying the narratives that they support, and that's it. And this entire thread ties the Maxwell family, Biden, and the deep state families to the Rothschilds and Warburgs through banking conduits and Western intelligence groups. So this is a very, very big, important thread. I need to go through it with a fine-tooth comb because there is a lot of information here. This will tie in Mossad, China, controlling Hollywood, ties with these major families and billionaire factions like the mega group, Bill Gates, Adam Schiff, Disney, ABC, who are all involved in child sex trafficking while providing cover with their criminal partners in the mainstream media. And connect the dots. It's so obvious. This is clear when you lay out the facts, pictures, and evidence in a row. How can the media continue to deny it? Because they are owned by the same people. The mainstream media is compromised. Well, I think we are all well aware of that. And that is Maxwell, of course, Epstein, and Weinstein. Yeah. And this guy has a t-shirt that says Mossad, before we forget, 12/13/1949 to 12/13/2019. Happy 70th birthday, Mossad. And of course we have Adam Schiff here. And what else do we have here? And I'm not sure who this guy is. That's definitely Harvey Weinstein. And and then there's these two. And of course Bill Gates was on the Lolita Express. He made several trips to the island. I'm sure it was just for sun, though. Just sun and relaxation, I'm sure. I mean, what else would it be for? The mega group is the center of it all. Just look at some of the names. Convicted sex cult owners, the Bronfmans, Wexner, who made Epstein his power of attorney, and Steven Spielberg, who has a very dark history tied to the same big name legacy families. No coincidences. These are important names to know. Once the movie progresses further, all the world's sex trafficking rings are funneling into this group. Given what we know about 9/11, I'm surprised Spielberg hasn't made a Hollywood movie filled with disinformation yet. Yeah, this is just very, very interesting stuff. And this person has gone to her, their name is Kat Namus, at Kat Namus. And yeah, there's just a lot of information here. And I am definitely going to be gleaning more information from this thread because this person has gone to a lot of work and the least we can do is disseminate it. So, says testimony from Assange, the man behind the leaked DNC email, said Russia was not the source of the DNC leaks, and we know that. When the mainstream media owned by sex traffickers like the Bronfman and Disney say POTUS is attacking his enemies, it's because they are criminally involved. Of course, we know they're all criminally involved. Well, we do now, since Trump. Listen to Assange here. Well, we're not going to get into that tonight, but I am going to be going through this more and trying to glean whatever is of value here to pull out and make note of, because I figure when somebody is doing the research, the least those of us that have a platform can do is disseminate it to others, because of course they're censored, they're banned, they're shadow banned, they're kicked off Twitter or whatever the social media is. So yeah, it's hard for people to get, it's hard to get the word out anymore. It really is, because those that are telling the truth are the ones that are targeted biggest. All right, well, let's go back now and see what else we have, because we have lots. Now, this is very, very interesting if you ask me. Breaking 911, breaking package addressed to the White House containing ricin intercepted by law enforcement. The package was addressed to President Trump. So I would assume that that's been another attempt on his life. Ricin is highly, highly dangerous. But yeah. But the thing is, I mean, people that send stuff like that to the White House have to know that all his packages are inspected before they ever get to him. So the chances of him getting a package with anything in it that's dangerous are slim to none, because they look out for that kind of stuff. And well, they should. And let's look at this. The American Mind, the Soros cover-up, Newt Gingrich, Americans can't let Twitter noise overwhelm political reality. I've been watching a truly curious phenomenon over the past few days. It seems there is suddenly a move in media to silence anyone who speaks out against George Soros, and specifically his funding of radical prosecutors seeking to change the criminal justice system by simply ignoring certain crimes. This happened to me personally this week when I was being interviewed on Fox's Outnumbered, and this is actually written by Newt Gingrich. When I brought up Soros' plan to get pro-criminal, anti-police prosecutors elected across the county, or country rather, two of the show's participants interrupted me and forcefully asserted that Soros was not involved. Host Harris Faulkner, it seemed, was stunned by the interruptions and did her part to move the show forward after some awkward silence. The next day, she addressed the strange moment during the show and condemned censorship. Immediately after the show, Twitter and other social media went crazy. People were alleging that any criticism of Soros' political involvement is automatically false, anti-Semitic, or both. This is ludicrous. Soros' plan to elect these prosecutors has been well documented already, and it has nothing to do with his spiritual or ethnic background. The Los Angeles Times, the New York Times, Politico, USA Today, the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, the Associated Press, CBS, the South Florida Sun Sentinel, even Fox News itself, among others, have all thoroughly reported on it. There are plenty of specific examples of Soros' work in action. Dallas County District Attorney John Cruzat, who campaigned on the promise that he would not prosecute a host of crimes, including thefts, admitted his campaign was largely funded through Soros or his groups. He has been so dismissive of crime and police that Texas Governor Greg Abbott has had to send in the Texas State Patrol to police large swaths of Dallas. Soros gave $333,000 to the Safety and Justice PAC in 2016 to support then Cook County District Attorney candidate Kim Foxx in Illinois, who is currently presiding over terrible violence and mayhem in Chicago, where murders are twice what they were in 2019. Soros and his organization spent $1.7 million to help get Philadelphia District Attorney Larry Krasner elected in 2018. Before being elected, Krasner earned a name for himself by suing the Philadelphia Police Department 75 times. Since he took office, dozens of experienced prosecutors have either been fired or resigned. Criminal prosecutions have plummeted and crime has risen. Philadelphia now has the second highest murder rate among large cities in the country. Former Hugo Chavez advisor and current San Francisco District Attorney Chasa Boudin was funded by Soros and his groups. Boudin, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, has called prison an act of violence and has refused to prosecute a slew of illegal acts, from public urination to the public solicitation of sex, which he deems to be a quality of life crimes. By the way, Boudin is the foster child of Bill Ayers and Bernadine Dorn of terrorist group Weather Underground fame. His birth parents were convicted and imprisoned for their involvement in an armed robbery turned homicide. One of Soros' favored PAC spent $402,000 to support a failed San Diego County District Attorney bid by Genevieve Jones-Wright. In 2016, a Soros-funded Super PAC donated $107,000 to benefit Raul Torres in his Bernalillo County District Attorney primary, which he won in a 2-to-1 margin. In fact, Soros' huge funding prompted the Republican running to bow out because it was just too expensive to run against Torres. Soros-backed George Gascon is currently challenging Los Angeles County District Attorney Jackie Lacey, who has been targeted and systematically harassed by Black Lives Matter supporters. I'm not overly surprised to see the Twitter mob embrace a sudden, near-universal denial of these facts. I am alarmed to see that the force of this groupthink on social media appears to be strongly influencing professional media. I think the heart of the mass denial is that Democrats and the left are watching the terrible human cost of their misguided pro-criminal anti-police justice policies, and they are beginning to worry that the American people will realize who is responsible for them. Rather than deal with something difficult or admit they were wrong, the activists of the radical left are trying to find some way to scream racist and get the media to follow suit. America will suffer if our professional media continues to be overruled by our social media. Well, our professional media is just the propaganda arm of the Democrat Party, and they're going to do whatever is in the best interest of the Democrat Party. That's the bottom line. There are no more professional journalists. There seem to be only citizen journalists that are doing the job that the real journalists are paid to do. Unfortunately, but that's what's happening. Okay, now let's look at this. Yes, court records. Now this is old. Well, no, this is September 18th, but this news is a little bit old. Court records show Netflix star Jerry Harris has admitted to soliciting and receiving explicit Snapchats from at least 10 to 15 minors, raping a minor statutorily, and paying for nudes of a minor. You may recognize Jerry from Netflix or the video Joe Biden did with him weeks ago. Yeah. Jerry Harris from Cheer, charged with producing child porn. He admitted receiving explicit photos from minors, court records show. And celebrity cheerleader Jerry Harris has been arrested by the FBI and charged with producing child pornography, the U.S. Attorney's Office said Thursday. According to federal court records, Harris admitted to agents that he solicited and received explicit messages on Snapchat from at least 10 to 15 individuals he knew were minors, had sex with a 15-year-old at a cheerleading competition in 2019, and paid a 17-year-old money in exchange for nude photos. Joe Biden held an Instagram chat with Jerry Harris weeks before the Cheer star was placed under FBI investigation for soliciting sex and explicit pictures from twin brothers. Yeah, wasn't that special? Harris, who grew up in Illinois and has Cheered since he was a child, gained national prominence in January through Cheer, the docuseries that follows Texas Navarro College cheerleaders in their quest for a national title. Viewers were drawn to his lively personality and ability to remain positive despite personal challenges, including the loss of his mother to cancer. In the months that followed, Harris met Oprah Winfrey, interviewed celebrities on the red carpet of the Oscars, and filmed a short video with former Vice President Joe Biden. Harris' Instagram page has 1.2 million followers. So there you go. Yeah. Seems to be a lot of that type of activity being caught lately. All right, and let's move down now. Yeah, and let's look at that. Now, this is from yesterday. No, it's actually from 2 days ago. Pardon me. Breaking, some Michigan residents told to stay indoors due to first case of rare but deadly mosquito illness. Gee, couldn't possibly be related to all those genetically modified mosquitoes that they just loosed in Florida. Thanks, Bill Gates. Yeah, we needed more mosquito-borne illnesses, didn't we? All right, let's go. Let's look at this. Yeah. Here is more of the exact same thing. It says, rare mosquito-borne virus suspected in Michigan. 10 counties urged to cancel outdoor events after dusk. Thanks, Bill Gates. I know. You're saying, well, how do you know it's related? How do you know that it's not? They just released hundreds and thousands of mosquitoes that were genetically modified in Florida. Then all of a sudden, we get this strange disease with, it's like a multi-inflammatory disease that children are getting, and all sorts of mosquito-type illnesses are popping up, and now we have this. Gee, I don't know. Call me crazy, but yeah, I think they're related. Detroit, a Michigan adult is suspected of having the rare and dangerous mosquito-borne virus Eastern equine encephalitis. Health officials announced Tuesday. The Michigan Department of Health and Human Services now urges people in 10 Michigan counties, Barry, Clare, Ionia, Isabella, Jackson, Kent, Mecosta, Montcalm, Newego, and Oakland to cancel or postpone outdoor events that take place on, at, or after dusk to prevent more people from contracting the virus, which is spread through the bite of infected mosquitoes. The adult suspected of having the virus is from Berry County. Yeah, and the other thing that kids were getting in Florida, which is where they released these mosquitoes, was a type of encephalitis as well that caused multi-inflammatory reactions all over their bodies. So yeah, I think it's related. You know, call me nuts, but hey. Also known as triple E, the virus is one of the deadliest mosquito-borne diseases in the United States, with a 33% fatality rate in people who become ill. I guess coronavirus wasn't working fast enough for them. It kills 90% of the horses sickened by the virus. So far this year, 22 horses in 10 counties that are urged to cancel outdoor events have been confirmed cases of the virus. And also, there were reports of horses and livestock dying because of mosquitoes attacking them. And all of these mosquito stories are in the news right after those, genetically modified mosquitoes were let loose by Bill Gates. Yeah, so I don't know, but I'm just finding it strange that all of a sudden we're all having mosquito problems. Yeah. Anyway, NDHHS continues to encourage local officials in the affected counties to consider postponing, rescheduling, or canceling outdoor activities occurring at or after dusk, particularly those involving children, to reduce the potential for people to be bitten by mosquitoes, said Dr. Jone Caldon, Chief Medical Executive and Chief Deputy for Health at NDHHS, in a statement. And also, if you are in Michigan, I would watch your horses. I don't know how you can prevent mosquitoes from biting your horses, but there's got to be a way. because it kills a high percentage of the horses that get this. If the suspected human case is confirmed through lab testing later this week, it would be the first person with EEE this year in Michigan. Last year, EEE affected 38 people in the U.S., more than in any other previous year since it's been tracked by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. In a typical year, there are 7 cases nationally. And, all right. So, it says children under 15 and adults older than 50 at greatest risk. In Michigan alone, in 2019, 6 people died, 4 others were hospitalized. 3 of the 4 people who survived EEE infections in the state have severe neurologic issues and continue to receive supportive care, either in rehab or at home with home care, said Lynn Stutphin, spokeswoman for the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, in a previous interview with the Free Press. So beware if you're in Michigan, and I would assume neighboring states as well. Signs of EEE infection include sudden onset of fever, chills, body and joint aches, which can progress to a severe encephalitis, resulting in headache, disorientation, tremors, seizures, and paralysis. Children under age 15 and people older than age 50 are at greatest risk for developing severe illness from the EEE virus. There is no vaccine for EEE, no treatment, and there's no cure. Doctors can only offer supportive therapy to help patients breathe, get fluids and nutrition, and prevent other infections. Well, there you go. I don't know if this is the result of what was released down in Florida. Not sure, but sure seems odd. Anyone who thinks they may be experiencing these symptoms should seek medical care. Well, what do you think they're going to do? Permanent brain damage, coma, and death may occur in some cases. Says the MDHHS announced earlier this week that it would begin spraying pesticides in 10 counties where EEE cases in horses have been identified to control mosquitoes and reduce the risk of infection. Well, you know, you could have prevented it by not releasing all those genetically modified mosquitoes carrying who knows what. All right. So I think that's it. I think we all know what to do to keep mosquitoes off of us. You need to if you're up in Canada, because boy, they bite and they're big. All right. Now, let's look at this. As President Trump visits Minnesota today, now when was this? This was yesterday. A lifelong Democrat and the mayor of the town of Minnesota's Iron Range had to say, the Iron Range is roaring back to life and we have one man to thank, President Donald Trump. Yes, I like that. Now, we're going to move on, and I'm going to, let me see how we're doing for time here. We are right within our time frame here, so this will be the last item tonight, and it has to do with the Ricin intercept of the Secret Service Ricin intercept. Breaking: Secret Service intercepts package addressed to President Trump containing deadly ricin. Now, it's interesting, the timing. I mean, I wonder if we knew how many attempts there'd been on his life. I bet you we'd be shocked, absolutely shocked. Anyway, law enforcement have intercepted a package containing the incredibly deadly poison ricin. The package was sent to the White House and addressed to President Trump. Law enforcement have intercepted a package containing, okay, we just read that. CNN reports that the package was intercepted earlier this week and subjected to 2 rounds of testing. Law enforcement from the Secret Service and FBI confirmed that the substance in the package was the highly potent poison ricin. Ricin is extracted from castor beans and is often used in terror plots. When made in a powdered form, it is among the most deadly poisons. If injected, or inhaled, it causes nausea, vomiting, and internal bleeding of the stomach and intestines. It is then followed by failure of the kidney, spleen, liver. It then finally causes death by collapse of the circulatory system. Death from ricin occurs between 36 to 72 hours after ingestion. The FBI and Secret Service are investigating the matter. More to come. All right. Well, that brings us to the end for tonight. And yeah, there's always lots more out there, but it's, you know, I would be on here 24 hours a day, and I would love to be if I could, but yeah, just to cover it all, it's almost impossible these days because so much is happening every single day, which, you know, I think that's only going to get worse as we get closer to the election, because more and more and more stuff's going to happen. There's going to be more lies spewed, and who knows, but I'm just waiting for the October surprise. Yeah. Anyway, that's it for tonight. Thank you guys so much for listening. I enjoy hanging out with you guys. It's kind of my favorite thing to do, really. And so I will talk to you guys later. I'll see you in the next video. You have a good night. Stay safe. Stay blessed. And please, please, please keep seeking truth. Good night, guys.